We'll call the Board of Public Works and Capital Assets of January 14th to order. Roll call.
Marshall here.
Guzikowski here.
Zarnecki here.
Seifert here.
Segal here.
Approval of minutes for 10/12/24. Any changes or corrections? Anyone notice? No? Do we need a motion to approve?
Seifert moves to approve the minutes of 12/10/2024.
Zarnecki second.
Roll call.
Marshall abstain.
Guzikowski, aye.
Zarnecki, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Ellie abstain.
Three abstain, or two abstain.
My recollection serves me right. They said it was fine to vote on it even if you were not in attendance.
I think because the three of you were here, it's still the majority,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think we're fine on that motion.
Yeah, we
Minutes
had
for
the
a meeting that I
majority.
wasn't at.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you still reviewed them, right?
Yeah, but I don't know what happened.
I know, that's why I abstained too. So,
So, I mean, I can certainly say, yeah, I approve these minutes, but I have nothing to compare it to as to whether or not they're truthful.
Okay. Well,
So are you saying the three of us constitute
A quorum?
There's
Quorum.
5 of you here and 3 for a quorum
Yeah.
from that
Right.
meeting, so I would say that it is
We're
okay.
good.
If
Yeah,
it's
I
not,
agree.
I'll bring it back on the next agenda.
Okay.
I think it should be okay.
I believe it is.
Yeah, I think
You
you're right.
got the
Yep.
majority.
Quorum of 3 is a go. Alrighty, number 4, informational.
I'll just
that-
quickly, just super quick side note. The finalized budget document should be printed and distributed to everyone at the end of this month, so just keep an eye out for that.
Thank you. Alrighty, number 5, consider a motion to approve of the purchase of 1 required administrative squad for the 2025, in the amount of 42,560. Hello, Chief.
Good morning, everyone. It looks like I have the first 4 items, so I'll just hang out up here. But the first one is actually split off into 2 items. So as part of the original items that we came forward for CIPs to Bapwaka, which was approved and then approved through the budget process, this first one is, as part of that, were 5 vehicles, 4 squad cars, or 4 to 5. We always word it that way, and then 1 to 2 administrative vehicles. So we are doing 1 administrative vehicle this year, and as we have, kind of for a background on this very quickly, we have looked at in the past and continue to look at enterprise and other leasing options. The way that the police department works and our turnover and our mileage, it just does not work right now. It's actually more expensive for us to do that. So as much as we would get newer vehicles more often, it's not fiscally responsible for us to do that at this time, but we'll continue to look at that. However, what we've been doing for a very long time is our rotation of vehicles, which when we bring them in, they serve their purpose, and if they're still mechanically sound and in good operating order, we will then turn them into different administrative vehicles for the remainder of their life, which could be a couple years, whatever that might be. Our squad vehicles, that means that they become SRO vehicles, and the old SRO vehicle that's now outside of its mechanical limits and age gets auctioned off. So same thing with this, is we have a older detective vehicle that is going to have the captain's vehicle that's currently become that vehicle. The admin vehicle will go off to pasture, and we'll have the new vehicle come in. So what we found is the Chevy Blazers are a good intermediate vehicle, which also provides us a vehicle that has the option for 4-wheel drive. Given our weather that we have here, that's a good option. But what it also does is it's not as big as a Tahoe, obviously, so it's not as expensive. It doesn't use that much gas, And it's also slightly smaller than a Ford Explorer, but because these are administrative vehicles, they don't need to be quote-unquote police vehicles or police interceptor models. So we save a little bit on that, and then the difference between that is a Blazer is much more economical with fuel savings than an Explorer is. So we've done a lot of that research to go through and figure out what's the best to maintain what we have and get the most value out of that short-term and long-term. So that's what we have. We did get quotes from 3 different dealerships. When we do so, we do it all under what's considered a state contract, fleet pricing, or government pricing. And what we were able to get for this is Holtz had the best option for us, which was the 42,560, which is well within the CIP amount. And if you do the math on this plus the 4 vehicles, it's actually $10,000 less than what we have in the CIP currently. So we're well within the bounds of what we have. So I would be happy to answer anything else on this specific one. If you have specific questions, that's kind of the overview on everything.
Questions or comments?
It's just, maybe one of the questions is, can this be used for other things in the department besides just administrative? Could you go on the road with it if you had to?
So any of our vehicles, if we really had to, we can. We put lights in them so that we can do some things, but they're not a quote-unquote marked patrol vehicle. And it's one thing to go out and take calls in it versus you need to have certain things and requirements, including 360 degree of lights to do like a pursuit with it. So we tend not to. That's what our marked patrol vehicles are, because we really want a presence for those. This serves more of that just administrative thing, but like when the detectives are going house to house or they're doing follow-up, these are the type of vehicles that they would be taking.
Well, the only question was, do we have some flexibility if we needed it? Could we use that squad car for some service?
Absolutely. It just doesn't have all the tools and it doesn't have like a computer in it and everything else that goes with it. So it definitely can in a pinch. I will go back to when the Sikh temple happened. We had so many vehicles that were out. These were the type of vehicles that were going house to house for calls. I mean, all we need is somebody in uniform there.
I wasn't disagreeing with
Sure.
you. I was just asking the question.
Yeah, no problem. And I want to make sure that you know exactly everything that we can do or can't do.
I just kind of wanted to make sure that it did have some flexibility, that it wasn't just one function. and
Yes. They are probably the most flexible of all of our vehicles when they become administrative, because we can use them for basically anything except for pursuing vehicles. So they don't go out on patrol per se, but in a pinch, absolutely, and we've done it before.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Other questions or comments? Motion?
Marshall moved to approve the purchase of 1 required administrative squad for 2025 in the amount of $42,560.
Seifert seconds.
Roll call.
Marshall, I.
Guzekowski, aye.
Zarnecki, aye?
Seifert, aye.
Yeah, yeah.
Number 6, consider a motion to approve the purchase of evidence van replacement and uplifting for 2025 in the amount of $57,800. Steve?
Good morning again. So same thing, this went through the CIP process budget as well. One of the things that we've tried to do for many years is use alternate vehicles for the evidence technician response. The last 2 iterations of that have been ambulances from the fire department. Difference with that is every iteration of the fire apparatuses have been getting larger and larger, and it's really outside of what we need for the scope of going to crime scenes and processing and getting people out of different weather situations, whether that be extreme heat, extreme cold, the rain, the snow, whatever it might be, and to keep our equipment in there and get something that's more in line with what that unit actually does. So that's why we're looking to go away from the ambulance. Number one, there's a lot of maintenance that goes into them, especially with this, with the air ride suspensions that keep going out. So it almost makes itself useless to us when that goes out. We can't drive it around with them sagging and everything else. So what we looked at this last year was to make sure we could find something that meets what we need for that unit, now and a long time into the future. And what we've come up with is a smaller type of Sprinter van. This one's a van, it's called a high top van. And again, going through all of that, what we're able to do is get the best pricing through Hiller Ford. It's a Ford Transit van at $48,599. Still well within the amount that we had requested and got quoted back several months ago. It's a little bit more than the quote then, but as we know, everything keeps rising with every continuing year as it passes with costs. We still believe that we'll be at that approximately $9,000 for the upfitting of that vehicle once we get it, but we'll stay within the overall. So I'm just looking for the approval again for the vehicle that we actually have nailed down now.
This would have to be, also be more gas effective than a retrofitted ambulance.
Yes, economically, size-wise, those ambulances get pretty bulky when we're inside, and trying to have somebody drive that's not used to that size of vehicles, always a concern of ours. So trying to keep it more manageable is number one. And yes, we're always looking at every which way that it impacts our budget and how can we keep those budget restraints in line.
Any other comments or questions?
Well, just to be clear, do you want a motion for the vehicle itself or with the $9,000 upfitting?
It's just for the vehicle.
We can do it all. It's all going to be a part of it. Otherwise, the $9,000, I'm gonna come and start to hand piece through.
Motion includes it.
Yes.
Perfect.
Any motion?
Seibert moves to approve the purchase of an evidence van replacement and upfitting for 2025 in the amount of $57,800.
Zarnecki, second.
A roll call.
Marshall, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Zarnecki, aye.
Seibert, aye.
Scully, aye.
Number 7, consider a motion to approve the purchase of 4 required patrol squads for 2025 in the amount of $211,599.80.
Good morning again. This is the continuation of the patrol side, except for it's the marked vehicles. These vehicles have already been promised, if you will, to us through a PO, because we have to get this back all the way in August every year to get these rolling forward. And then we kind of get in line at that point for when they start to build them, which should be any day now. So this is the remainder of it. We're looking at the 4 marked Chevy patrol vehicles. They will get the initial setup from Chevy as we have them outfitted, and the initial upfitting, we do all the rest of that internally, which is not a part of this. But that is approximately $52,899.95 per vehicle for the total of $211,599.80, which all is again within the approved CIP amount, still leaving us with about that $10,000 buffer with the administrative vehicle on there as well. The big thing with these is they're a 3-year rotation, so about a third every year get rotated out. In that 3 years, we put almost 150 to 180,000 miles on these vehicles because of how many we have in there. With the growth that we got approved over the last couple of years to increase our marked vehicles by 2, I'm hoping to see that now start to taper down and have a little bit more usefulness when they're done to become an SRO vehicle or different administrative vehicles that we otherwise have not been able to do over the last several years. Happy to answer any questions on the marked vehicles.
How many vehicles do we have totally in the fleet?
Totally, with all administrative, all the little stuff,
Well,
I
the ones that
believe
are on
that.
the road and so forth.
So we have, with this, we will have 16 marked vehicles that are available. Keeping in mind that each one of the K-9 officers is issued a vehicle with their K-9 partner. So we have essentially 14 vehicles that are available at any given time to go across all the shifts for marked vehicles. All in together, we have about 30 vehicles total at the police department between the SROs, administrative vehicles. We have one that's for the police aides, court and or when people go to training. And we have the administrative vehicles that cover both captains, myself, and all of our detectives that our shared vehicle as well.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Any other comments or questions? Motion.
Marshall moves to approve the purchase of 4 required patrol squads for 2025 in the amount of $211,599.80.
Secali seconds.
Roll call.
Marshall, I.
Guzekowski, aye.
Heckey, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Secali, aye.
Okay, number 8, consider a motion to approve the purchase of the required TASER equipment for training and street deployment in 2025 in the amount of $16,000.
Good morning again. The fourth and final one from the police department today. TASER equipment. So approximately 2001 is when we started with the first TASERs. Oak Creek, as being trying to be one of the leading departments around for many things, was one of the first in the area to have TASERs. We've successfully deployed them numerous times over the last 25 years, and they have become a very useful and less lethal tool to us than other options, being safer both for the officers that are using it and, unfortunately, against those that we are forced to use it on, but it is safer for them as well. So there's certain things that we have to do every year. We have to get recertified in the use of the TASER. What that means is that every one of us, all 70 of us now, have to utilize at least 2 cartridges to go through the training. We do a scenario-based training to make sure that it's the best possible training that we can get, as well as any new hires, they get multiple more during that time, and then any of the uses during the year count towards this as well. So we need to minimally have that many on hand, plus what we expect to go through for that year, as well as the digital power magazines as well. So this just covers what we expect to use within 2025 for that $16,000. Unfortunately, like all things, and with TASER Inc. or Axon Inc. now, everything's becoming more and more expensive. They really want us to go to, and everyone to go to, like we're seeing with everything, subscription services, even for this, to like lease the equipment. I can see us in the future when this kind of has run its course and we're at end of life needing to do that, which is why we started bringing into the CIP process as a recurring item just the TASER maintenance, because this is going to change as we go into the future. We just don't know exactly if that's 26, 27, or 28 right now when we look at that. And we'll have to look at different options then, but right now, this is just what we need to maintain our yearly certifications as well as uses. And be happy to answer any questions on TASERs or what we have going on with this if you have them.
The cartridges expire over time if they're not used.
So they do. It's about a 5-year shelf life on both the batteries and cartridges. So with the training part, that's where we take the old ones first. We utilize them and keep everything fresh.
Any other questions or comments for the TASERs? Number 8, motion.
Zarnecki will move to approve the purchase of the required TASER equipment for training and street deployment in 2025 in the amount of $16,000.
Seifert seconds.
Roll call.
Marshall, I.
Guzekowski, aye.
Zarnecki, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Secali, aye.
Thank you. You guys have a great day.
8-2. Alrighty, number 9, consider a motion to approve the Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewage District customer rates for 2025.
These are generally considered a pass-through. It's something that we approve every year. We'll adjust bills every year. It's the charges that we get from MMSD. They have a procedure for what we should charge our customers in order to collect enough to cover their costs. They call it their cost recovery manual. It details everything effectively that's on here. So the big item I wanted to note is just the connection charge increase from one year to another. It's rather significant this year. I just highlighted the quarterly charge. It's typically what our customers would see. And then going on down the list, you can see the household hazardous waste, the certified customers, those are more of your industrial customers. We charge those rates. We do make an adjustment. That adjustment to the volumetric charge is something that we do when we analyze how much we collected over the last couple of years compared to what we owe MMSD over the last couple of years. And do we need to make an adjustment to that domestic waste strength number? make a small adjustment there in this case. Total charge at the bottom, that's just sort of an average customer charge that you might see for reference, and that went up 13%. They are going up. I will note in here, the second sheet is simply a calculation on how we charge our flat rate customers, or those that are not metered. This kind of goes through that calculation a little bit using a lot of the numbers from that front sheet as well. The other piece I'd like to point out, so the second sheet also includes our charges, so that you can see that on there as well. It combines it all together for someone to look at, but our rates have not changed since 2010. Been held flat for a very long time. It is something that I watch very carefully year to year. At some point, we're going to need to adjust rates there. At this point, we're not there yet. So this would be, while we consider a pass through, we do like to have a motion to approve these rates that will include them in the future bills.
Okay. Any comments or questions?
How many flat rate customers do we have?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know, but I'm gonna estimate about 50. There's not a whole lot.
And it's just residential, it's not, there's no commercial flat rate?
Correct.
Okay. Is there a reason why they don't have? I'm sorry,
If they're not on our water system, then they wouldn't have a meter.
Oh, so it would be
those
somebody
homes that
with
may
a
still-
well,
yes,
okay, all
yes.
right. Sorry, I wasn't understanding why we had a flat rate, okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments? We do need a motion, right, guys?
Yes, sir.
Marshall moves to approve the Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewage District customer rates for 2025.
Second.
Scully seconds.
Roll call.
Marshall, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Zarnacki, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Scully, aye.
Alrighty. And number 10, consider a motion to approve award the design of the 2025 sanitary sewer rehab project to R.A. Smith based upon the proposed not to exceed cost of $14,000.
This project is sort of considered an ongoing project from year to year. We're doing new sanitary rehabilitations. This particular year, and we've gone with R.A. Smith the last number of years. We've got a good program worked out with them where they know what we're looking for and they can provide that economically for us. In this year, we're going to be focusing, and we can't say for sure after we do all the analysis, or maybe a few other areas that we'll be doing spot digs or linings or things like that. But what we identified already that we want to hit is the manholes in Avonshine Park. When they did the recent cleaning and inspection, we saw that there's uncovered rebar in those manholes, so those manholes are deteriorated to a point where they need to be fixed. We'll go after those, and also there's a MIS connection at 27th in Minnesota. It's in a similar condition, so we need to get on both of those. That's what we expect to do with this project. The project budget is $250,000, so we'll see that once we get the plans developed. We'll see that award coming through in the future. This is just for the design of that.
Thanks for the information. That's good. Any questions or comments, anyone? And we need a motion.
Marshall moves to award the design of the 2025 sanitary sewer rehabilitation project to R.A. Smith based on the proposed not to exceed cost of $14,000.
Seifert seconds.
Roll call.
Marshall, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Zarnacki, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Scully, aye.
Alrighty, number 11. Consider a motion to award the design of East Lakeview Drive and South Mona Court water relay, Sharon Drive water looping, and Ryan Road water main replacement at Shepherd Avenue to R.A. Smith based upon a proposed not to exceed cost of $53,200.
So this project, there's actually 3 projects here. We've decided to bundle them together, the 3 design projects, partially because 2 of the projects are relatively small. By doing this, we can make it a little bit more economical as well, and the report shows here that we're going to realize a $7,400 design savings by bundling these projects together, so we're pretty happy about that. Again, we're working with R.A. Smith on this one. They've done the last couple of projects for us. Once again, know what we're looking for and what we want to see on those projects. The total cost of the project's construction cost is estimated at $1 million. So this project budget is about 5%.
Any comments or questions, or? No? Motion.
Seibert moves to award the design of the East Lakeview Drive and South Mona Court water relay, Sharon Drive water looping, and Ryan Road water main replacement at Shepherd Avenue to R.A. Smith based on the proposed not-to-exceed cost of $53,200.
Second.
Zarnicki will second.
Roll call.
Marshall, I.
Guzekowski, aye.
Zarnicki, aye.
Seibert, aye.
Kelly, aye.
Number 12, consider a motion to approve the change order to number 1 for South Sixth Street sanitary relay projects to Globe Contractors, Inc. in the amount of $38,755.
So this project, it's a sanitary sewer project, but we have a change order for water main work. Because of the sanitary sewer, when we put that in, it's close to the existing water main. That construction, vibration, and hammering around over there caused a number of water main breaks in the weekend. Maine also released a saddle. Back in the old days, we put saddles on with steel bands and steel bolts. Stopped that operation a long time ago, but we still see some of these rot out, corrode away, and that's exactly what happened on this one. In this case, we had the contractor do the excavation for us, put in the trench box, and that we did the repair work. We provided the materials to do that work, but we had them do the excavation since they were there. They did the traffic control, and they also are doing the pavement restoration, which is the largest part of this change order. So they were just there at the right time to be able to help us out.
Lynn, any comments or questions?
It says here that it was part of the 2023 capital improvement budget. Are we in
Yes.
12? Yeah.
The sanitary project was, yes. part of
Okay.
that.
All
We also have a water project on this over, the bridge is being replaced. Because the bridge is being
Right.
replaced, we had to remove the water main out of the way. Sanitary sewer was also in the way, but what we found when we tried to go underneath the bridge with the sanitary sewer, it wasn't gonna make it. So we went a little bit further south and reversed the flow of a sanitary sewer and ran it down to the south. So we
Okay.
needed new sewer to do that. That's what this project was for, and compromise the water main.
All right, thank you.
Alrighty. Number 12, good? Everyone, we need a motion?
Marshall moves to approve change order number 1 for the South Sixth Street sanitary relay project to Globe Contractors Incorporated in the amount of $38,755.
Seibert seconds.
Roll call.
Marshall, I.
Guzekowski, aye.
Zarnicki, aye.
Seibert, aye.
Kelly, aye.
Okay. Number 13, consider a motion to approve the final payment for the South Sixth Street, South Sixth Street, sanitary relay projects to Globe Contractors, Inc. in the amount of $58,341.50.
All the work is complete on this project, and we've approved the change order that's included in this final payment. Done and complete.
Are you happy with it?
Yes.
Comments or questions? Nothing? Motion.
Marshall moves to approve the final payment for the South Sixth Street sanitary relay project to Globe Contractors in the amount of $58,341.50.
Kelly, second.
Roll call.
Marshall, I.
Guzekowski, aye.
Zarnicki, aye.
Seibert, aye.
Kelly, aye.
Okay. Number 14, consider a motion to approve the final payment for South Sixth Street water relay projects to Globe Contractors, Inc. in the amount of $6,226.50.
Well, this project is the water side that's associated with that bridge replacement project, and that project is complete as well.
And you're happy with it?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Okay, motion.
Marshall moves to approve the final payment for the South Sixth Street Water Relay Project to Globe Contractors in the amount of $6,226.50.
Zarnecki, second.
Roll call.
Marshall, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Zarnecki, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Kelly, aye.
Okay. Number 15, consider a motion to award the Abendschein Park Water Extension Project to DK Contractors based upon the bid amount of $290,965.
So this project is kind of a looping project. It's kind of providing service. It's also enhancing the water quality to the pavilion that's currently out at Abendschein Park. This will connect from Drexel Avenue to the Stonebrook. Right? Stonebrook development, just to the west of it. It'll provide looping for that project. It'll also, the layout of this water main will align with where the city's going to be doing further pavilion development over there. There's a reason why the main was held off for some time. Now we're proposing putting that in. We did receive 7 bids on the project. They were good prices.
Yeah. Any comments or questions? Motion.
Seifert moves to award the Aventine Park Water Extension Project to DK Contractors based on the bid amount of $290,965.
Second.
Zarnecki will second.
Roll call.
Marshall, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Zarnecki, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Kelly, aye.
Okay. Number 16, consider a motion to enter an agreement with LAI Limited for the replacement of our coagulant feed pumps in the amount of $32,000.
So last year, we replaced our existing diaphragm chlorine pumps with these peristaltic pumps. We're very, very happy with the way they're performing. They're doing a great job, so we want to go ahead and replace the coagulant pumps as well as the potassium permanganate pumps as well, those feed pumps. We have had scaling and clogging issues, scaling coming off of the tank, clogging issues with our diaphragm pumps. These have not suffered any of that, so we're very happy with it. The only change I'd make on here is it really is in the motion, it would be in the amount of $12,000, not 32. 32 was the budget amount. 12,000 is the pump amount for those 3 pumps. There will be additional cost of for the 3 pumps, about $10,000 total for installation. That will come later. This is just for the purchase of the pumps, so that'll be $12,000.
Any questions or comments? Motion.
Zarnecki will move to enter into an agreement with LAI Limited for the replacement of our coagulant feed pumps in the amount of $12,000.
Seifert seconds.
Roll call.
Marshall, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Zarnecki, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Kelly, aye.
17. Consider a motion to enter into an agreement with LAI Limited for the replacement of our potassium permanganate feeds in the amount of $22,000.
And very similar to the previous item, this is only 2 pumps. The previous item was 3 pumps. So this, I'd like to change the amount of the award to $8,000. That'll cover the cost of the 2 pumps. Again, we'll have additional cost for installation. That's approximately $7,200 going forward. Ultimately, the cost of these 2 pumps will be with installation, will be $15,200, still below the budgeted amount. So for the award for this one would be $8,000.
Can I ask a question there? So do the same people not install as you purchase it from?
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah, there's a
that totally
supplier,
makes
and then
sense.
we'll
Okay.
actually hire Peeper Electric to do the electric side of the install. We'll do the mechanical side of it, but the
Okay.
electric side will hire.
All right, perfect. Thank you for explaining that.
And what was the amount again? You said it,
$8,000.
8,000.
Yes, sir.
not 22. Thank you. Motion.
Marshall will move to enter into an agreement with LAI Limited for the replacement of our potassium permanganate feed pumps
Permanganate.
in the amount of $8,000. Next time I'm leaving it.
Segali seconds.
Roll call.
Marshall, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Zarnecki, aye.
Seibert, aye.
Segali, aye.
I was hesitant for a minute.
Alrighty, number 18, consider a motion to purchase the two Ford F-150s from Ewald Auto Group in the amount of $97,202 to replace trucks 502 and 517.
So we'll replace trucks in our fleet, usually one or two every year. We try and keep our trucks at a 12-year average or maximum age. On the typical pickup trucks, specialty vehicles are a little bit different. So these two, it's $97,202 for both vehicles. So it's about $48,000 each. As far as just sort of a little fun fact, the vehicle we just sold at auction, it was a 2012. We sold it last week. It was a 2012. We got $500 more than we paid for it in 2012.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Thank you, COVID.
Right? Yeah, now's a great time for all of that. So that's why we're continuing to purchase vehicles.
So can you guarantee that in 12 years?
No, it'd be nice. It would be nice.
Would be. Any questions or comments on 18 motion?
Marshall will move to approve the purchase of two Ford F-150s from Ewald Auto Group in the amount of $97,202 to replace trucks 502 and 517.
Seibert, seconds.
Roll call.
Marshall, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Zarnecki, aye.
Seibert, aye.
Segali, aye.
You're just replacing cars all over the place today. You get a car and you get a car.
Yeah, like Oprah. Number 19, consider a motion to approve the utility vouchers in the amount of $1,193,938.41.
Fairly typical month. There's nothing
Okay.
really special about it.
Did anyone have any comments or questions for the vouchers? Anything? No? Brad, you sure? Right. Then if not, then we need a motion.
Seibert moves to approve the utility vouchers in the amount of $1,193,938.41.
Zarnecki will second.
Roll call.
Marshall, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Zarnecki, aye.
Seibert, aye.
Segali, aye.
Number 20, informational.
Well, the only thing I do have a couple things for you. On the engineering report, it talks about the underground facilities rehabilitation project. We are reviewing the 60% plan submittal now in-house. We're going to be reviewing that with the consultant on Wednesday, putting all our comments together. We've not yet seen the 60% cost estimate, although it should be in any time now. The early indications are that it should be similar to what we saw at 30%. We don't see any large changes at this point. Good news. We're spending most of our time is spent on reviewing that to try and make sure we get it right. Now is the time to make those changes. Secondly, on that report, the Orchard Reservoir mixer that was installed is not functional. Tried to diagnose it from the ground as best we can. On Thursday, that company is coming out with a new mixer. We're getting a lift. We're going on top of the reservoir. They're going to diagnose it and try and get it working again. We think it may be the mixer is at fault, but we're not really sure at this point. But for me, the good news is there's some resolution coming fairly quickly on that. It's coming on Thursday. Hopefully
That the one that was
I
just
think that's
put
the
in?
warmest day, right? So
That wasn't the one that was just put in, was it?
yes, it is.
It
Yes.
is,
It
okay.
never. We had it running for about an hour. It passed when it got installed. It started. It ran. Later, it got turned on and stopped about an hour later. It hasn't run since. There's some fault codes on it that indicate some ground fault type of an error on it, so we're curious if it's a wiring issue with the pump, that somehow there's some water intrusion going on. The good news is we'll see that company, if they have to remove the mixer, we'll see how the mixer gets removed out of a full reservoir and how it gets reinstalled again. So someday when we have to do that in the future, we'll already have that knowledge. So
Yeah.
it's kind of there's got to be some kind of silver lining.
Right.
Really, they won't have to, they think they can take it out without emptying it?
Oh, yeah, it comes right up through the top.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, so on the distribution report, the only thing I really wanted to add there is the water main break on December 19th. It says a very large hole. That was a 6-inch hole, 24-inch line, so there was quite a bit of water coming out there. And on the plant report, towards the bottom of the preventative maintenance tasks, Mike indicates that he fell short of the maintenance goals for this year. This is the first time that's happened in quite a long time. And it really partly is due to the new operators that we have. So we're having to do sort of a buddy system on maintenance tasks when they're learning it. That loses then that operator from doing other tasks. That's part of it. The other part is with the additional PTO that was granted most of the staff. The operators then have more PTO time. That has to get filled in by the maintenance staff, who also got more PTO time. So it really stresses out the time available for maintenance staff to be able to do some of this work.
So are you saying no additional PTO time for your staff anymore?
Take it away. Hold on.
Yeah, it's an adjustment that needs to be made.
Okay.
That we're gonna have to try and figure out how to make this work. That was it.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? No?
No, I'm good.
Well, thank you. Kurt? Alrighty, well then we need to make it, looks like we're done. Make a motion to adjourn.
Marshall, move to adjourn.
Bernacki, second.
Roll call.
Marshall, aye?
Guzekowski, aye.
Bernacki, aye.
Seabird, aye.
Golly, aye.
Have a great week, everyone.